What's going on, guys? Linus here. Welcome to a review of the alpha of the War Z. It's a game that's just been released. Just the alpha. Beta's not available. There's no full game. It is just the alpha. And you can get it by pre-ordering the game, I think before the 15th or the 16th, something like that. You can get access to it. Depending on the amount you pay, you can get into the game a little bit earlier. We paid the minimum amount that you can pay to get into the alpha. And me and King's Entourage, who you may know, King's Entourage and I should say, I've played the game for a couple of hours now, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of my opinion on this game. So far, I like it, mostly because of the player interaction that we all know from DayZ. Obviously, you are dropped in a giant world. You make a character, give him a name, and you just start, and you're dropped randomly. You don't get any information whatsoever. You start out with a little package of a torch, what else do you get? A can of soup, something like that, some sort of food, a can of soda, and bandages. You have no weapon except for your torch, and you're just in the world, and you have no idea what to do. Sort of the same as DayZ, except, this is a new game, and I should have at least given it a tutorial, I think, or some more information in-game as to what you're supposed to do, what you can do, but they don't give you anything, so that's kind of weird. So you start off and you start looking for weapons, maybe fighting zombies, which is pretty much impossible because most of the zombies I've been trying to fight have been glitched. They just stand still, and if they're not standing still, they still don't take damage. I've literally hit a zombie over 100 times today, and he did not die. I hit him with a spiked bat, and he was still alive. So the game is still pretty much riddled with bugs. Then again, it is an alpha. They can still fix things. But the way it is right now in the alpha, the beta is coming out soon too, I think on the 23rd maybe. I'll have to look into it then a little bit more, but this is just a little review of the alpha. So there's still a bunch of bugs. For example, I walked in between a wall and a door, like an open door, and I got stuck like in between those two. I jumped up, and then suddenly I was on the roof of a building, and it's just really buggy. Sometimes you can't climb through windows, and in other occasions you can. Sometimes zombies do absolutely nothing when you're right next to them, and at other times they are attracted even from a pretty great distance. They suddenly start walking towards you, even if you have not made any sound whatsoever. It is quite odd to see how this game behaves. Like I said, we played for a couple of hours. We have found a few guns. One of the plus sides of this game so far is the fact that the weapons look really nice in first person. By pressing C, you go into first person mode, and you can take a look through your crosshairs. You don't really have your iron sights, and the weapons look pretty good. Reason for that being is that the weapons were imported, if I'm not mistaken, from War Inc. I think the game is called. It is a shooter game that was released by the same studio about a few years ago. I don't know what time, but it basically imported the exact same weapons, the exact same sights, and it's a little lazy, but it still works pretty well. I did not experience really great amounts of lags when it came to players. Only zombies seem to be lagging a lot in this game. We have killed a bunch of other players. We were killed ourselves a bunch of times. One of the worst gameplay decisions that I've ever seen in my life is that if you die in this game, you have to wait 1 hour to respawn. So let's say you can have 5 characters. You pick names for them that you really like. You have to delete one of them to keep playing on a character if all 5 die within an hour, which is really possible. That's not weird at all. But that's pretty much the gameplay. There is a pretty small map. I think you can pretty much traverse the whole map in about... If you had unlimited sprint, you would be able to do it in like 10 or 15 minutes. Right now, it takes a lot longer because your sprint wears out real fast. They have to do something about that in a game with zombies where sprinting is basically your only way of survival if you have no weapon. It just runs out within like 40 seconds of just straight up sprinting. It wears out, and that is it. Zombies are not slowed down in buildings like they were in DayZ, and I think people have been really misled because this game has been marketed as being the standalone DayZ MMO, and it's simply not. It doesn't look a lot like DayZ. Graphics look a little bit better on the character models. But aside from that, I think it looks way worse. Buildings are very boring. Most of them are empty. Like all the floors, there's literally nothing on there, and you just walk out there, you see a little highlighted item like a bandage, and it's blue, and that's the only thing in a room. There's so many empty spaces in this game that it didn't really feel like you were part of this world that where people just abandoned everything because there were zombies. It's just sort of a zombie playground, like it was made so that people could have fun in it and walk around. And that's fine because it's a video game, but it doesn't actually fit sort of the atmosphere that you got in DayZ. So that is pretty much that on the gameplay. Like I said, there is no options for information. You do not get any information whatsoever. And like for DayZ, I get it because that's a mod. But this is a standalone game. It should come with at least some information in the game, but it doesn't. Which brings me to my next point, which is the animations. They are beyond terrible. This is just shameful to see. If whoever made this game is watching this and this is not being patched in the full game, if it's not, you should be ashamed of yourself. This is not what a game should look like in 2012. I can show gameplay, I should have probably mentioned that before, because there's a non-disclosure agreement for this game. Probably because the developers did not want people to see this game, because it's just not very great. The only thing that I found fun about this game is playing with friends and then ganging up on other players. You cannot fight zombies yet, because they don't do anything. It is almost impossible to find guns. We have found a total of 3 shotguns and I think 2 handguns with only 1 magazine. We have not found ammo for either of those. All that's riddled about is bandages, cam lights, flares, and some water. It's just, there's no real reason to loot so far. We haven't found a single good weapon. We haven't found anything really cool except for a bunch of hats, which is my Team Fortress syndrome acting up. Collecting hats, that's right. And then there is the fact that everybody's killing each other. Literally everybody is just looking for weapons and immediately murdering one another. Even if you go into your chat and you say friendly, 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 people run up to you with a hammer and smack your face in. It is kind of disappointing, to be honest. This is the player base from DayZ that just went around only killing other people. There is almost no friendliness. There is a global chat, which is mostly just filled with bantering idiots, including myself, because I like to troll people, act as if I can't normally spell, that kind of stuff. It's just the player interaction that makes this fun. It might as well be a chat room. I mean, there's little to no gameplay aside from killing other players. Zombies have like no part in this whatsoever. It's called DayZ, marketed as a big zombie game. Zombies don't even work. How could this have been released? Right now, it's still an alpha, like I said, so they're obviously still working on making everything right, but it just doesn't work. If you walk around without sprinting, it looks like your character just shit his pants and he's still walking around with like a deuce in his pants, and he just walks around and he looks like a retard. If you sprint, it's a little bit better, but he still looks really weird. If you jump, that's just the worst. He keeps his arms like attached to his body and jumps straight up, and it doesn't look like an animation should at all. I don't know what happened. I don't think they're fixing this for the full game. I honestly don't see them fixing this in 2 more weeks. If there's no change in this, I definitely do not advise picking the game up. Also, last thing that actually sets this apart from DayZ is there's a global inventory. Say you pick stuff up and you want to keep it, or you may want to transfer it to one of your other characters. You log out, you drag it to your global inventory, and then you can keep it, or you can put it onto another character. Stuff like that. That's what I like. I mean, that's what DayZ should have had. Well, maybe not the inventory, but the possibility to have up to 5 characters, because it's just fun to play with different characters, go to different places, or if you're a Let's Player like me, you may want to have a separate character for recording sessions, and that wasn't possible in DayZ. Aside from that, there's sort of a marketplace thing going, where you earn experience, and it's not at all explained how you get this. Basically, the more you play, the more experience you get. I'm guessing by amount of zombie kills. There's no explanation at all in the game, and honestly, I don't think that I should have to look this stuff up on the internet, because I'm sure people have found out how you get experience, but it's kind of dumb that the game doesn't explain this to you. But basically, you get experience points, which you can spend on certain stuff, such as hats, food, weapons, such as a spiked bat or a knife. Actually, a knife can only be bought with real-life money, which brings me to my last point, pretty much. They say this game is not going to be pay to win. It may not be pay to win simply because there is no way to win the game. There's no set rules. It is a do whatever you want to do scenario. And if you actually invest real life money in this game, you can get a lot of attachments for weapons. Mind you, you cannot buy actual firearms, but you can get scopes, you can get all that kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure you can get silencers, suppressors. With real life money, you can buy a knife. You can buy the best supplies you need to survive, like medicine, vaccines, stuff like that. It can all be purchased using real life money. So I have to say, so far, the only fun that I've had with this game is interacting with King's Entourage and the other players. And honestly, I don't think that that should be the only redeeming factor of a game, because you can have that anywhere. You can have that in real life, just, with a group of people. You can have that in chat rooms. I just don't get it, what the big fuzz was about for this game, because I heard it was marketed to me as being a standalone DayZ game. And I know now that it's not, because it was not made by the same developers as DayZ. It's a very different game, and it just doesn't work as well. They say they've been producing this since before DayZ came out, which I honestly do not believe, because the game just doesn't work at all. And if they really put that much time into it, you'd think that the animations would be a bit better. But a lot of people bought into this. A lot of people spend $50 to get a little star beside their name in the game, which actually shows that you paid $50 to be included in this beta/alpha/whatever, and you get $30 in-game currency, and that is it. That is what you get for that. So honestly, I think a lot of people feel like they're being ripped off. I am honestly not one of them. Because, like I said, I did have some fun with the game, but it's just lacking in so many departments. Just no information whatsoever. You're just thrown out there. And when you add new aspects to a game, such as experience and currency, the least I could expect was to get some sort of explanation as to what exactly is going on or how it works. Or at least show when you kill a zombie that you get experience. There were so many ways to make this game more clear, and they just didn't do anything with that. So in conclusion to this little review of the alpha of The War Z, it's not very good. It is not very good, and I would not advise buying it right now. I'm going to make update videos and reviews for when it actually goes into beta and when the full game is released. But for now, I'm not allowed to show gameplay, and I honestly think that's just because they don't want people to see how bad it looks right now, because it's absolutely terrible. It is not worth $20, okay? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to diss the game for anyone. I'm just being honest here. It just looks terrible. It doesn't handle very well. It is glitched. Zombies don't move. And the only redeeming aspect so far has been player interaction. And even considering the fact that every other player you don't know kills you. So it's basically just a weird deathmatch that doesn't handle very well in an abandoned city with random zombies walking about that really don't do that much. So that is pretty much that. I hope I informed you with my little review, and hopefully I'll be able to show some gameplay soon. And with that said, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.